They call it a dream, but for most, it's a nightmare. Right now, somewhere in America, a kid is shooting hoops in a dimly lit gym, convinced he's destined for greatness. He doesn't know the odds. He doesn't know that of the 500,000 high school basketball players grinding every single day, only 35 will make it to the NBA each year. That's a 0 to -0.07% chance. Worse than getting into Harvard, worse than becoming a millionaire. But making it to the NBA, that's just the beginning. Because once you're in, you enter the most brutal hierarchy in sports. A food chain where one wrong move ends your career and one great season makes you immortal. From the ghost at the end of the bench, to the god who changed the game forever. 10 levels separate survival from legend. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the NBA isn't just basketball. It's war. Let's expose the truth. Two-way and end-of bench players. The bottom. These are the ghosts who made it to the league but barely exist in it. Two-way contracts, training camp invites, the last 3 roster spots. They sit at the end of benches in suits, one bad practice away from being cut and forgotten. Two-way players make around $559,000, which sounds like success, until you're competing against guys making $50 million. They average less than 5 minutes per game if they play at all. Most nights, they don't even get off the bench. What keeps them here? A fatal flaw. Too slow. Can't shoot. Defensive liability. In the NBA, one major weakness is enough to bury you. The truth nobody tells you? Most of these players will be out of the league within 2 seasons. Only 15% ever climb higher. This isn't the dream. This is the nightmare before you wake up unemployed. Deep benching garbage time players one step up from invisible. These are the 12th, 13th, 14th men on the roster. They actually have guaranteed contracts, but their role is clear play when the game is already decided. Garbage time specialists. Deep bench players might average 8 to 12 minutes per game, but only in blowouts. When the score is close, they're glued to the bench. They make between $1 to $3 million per year, which is decent money for sitting courtside in warm-ups. What separates them from level 1? Job security. They're not fighting for their roster spot every week. They have multi-year contracts and a defined role, even if that role is being ready when injuries happen. The psychological toll is real. You're in the NBA, living the dream, but you're watching more than playing. Some players accept it and carve out 10-year careers as professional bench warmers. Others let the frustration eat them alive. Rotation players' real minutes. Rotation players are the 8th, 9th, 10th men who actually see consistent court time. They play 12 to 18 minutes per game with a specific job: defend, rebound, or hit open threes. Nothing fancy, just execute. These players average 5 to 8 points per game. They're not scorers, they're specialists. The defensive stopper, the three-point shooter who only shoots corner threes, the hustle guy who dives for loose balls. Salary-wise, $3 to $6 million per year, enough to build wealth if managed correctly. Most rotation players have 5 to 8 year careers if they stay healthy and don't try to do too much. What keeps them at this level? Limited offensive skills. They can't create their own shot or handle the ball in traffic, but coaches love them because they're low maintenance and consistent. They know their role and stay in their lane. Sixth man and key role players, the backbone of every playoff team. Sixth men and key role players are the first guys off the bench who play 20 to 25 minutes per game. They're trusted in close games and often lead the second unit. These players average 10 to 14 points with solid all-around contributions. Think Lou Williams, 6th Man of the Year winners who provide instant offense, or defensive anchors like Draymond Green early in his career who do everything except score. Salary range hits $6 to $12 million per year. Some sixth men make more than starters on other teams because their impact is undeniable. They change the game's momentum when they check in. What separates them from rotation players? Versatility and trust. Key role players can handle multiple responsibilities. They make plays, not just execute plays. Coaches trust them in playoff minutes, not just regular season blowouts. This level is where careers get made. Master this role and you're set for a decade. Starters and solid control the shorts. The everyday starter. These players start 70+ games, play 28 to 32 minutes per night, and provide steady production without headlines. Every championship team needs at least 2 or 3 players at this level. Solid starters average 14 to 18 points with 5 to 7 rebounds or assists. They're reliable second and third options who defend competently. Good at everything, great at nothing. Salary range sits between 10 to 20 million per year. Most players here have 8 to 12 year careers and retire with respect from their peers, even if casual fans forget their names. What makes them different from key role players? Volume and responsibility. Starters handle the ball more, make more decisions, and produce even when the game plan doesn't favor them. But here's the harsh truth: solid starters are replaceable. Teams can find similar production through trades or free agency. They're good enough to start in the best league in the world, but not good enough to be irreplaceable. High-level starters, the next tier up. High-level starters are above-average players who carry significant offensive or defensive responsibility. They average 18 to 21 points per game and are typically the second or third best player on good teams. These players have one elite skill. Maybe they're lockdown defenders who can guard the opponent's best player. Perhaps they're 3-level scorers who can get hot for 30-point games. They impact winning in clear ways. Salary-wise, 18 to 28 million per year. That's borderline star money for players who are one level below stardom. What defines this level? They're almost all-stars, but not quite. In weak years, they might make the team. In strong years, they get snubbed. The media debates whether they're underrated or overrated. Fans argue about their value constantly. The frustrating part? They're close to greatness, but can't quite break through. They have great regular seasons, but struggle when playoff intensity ramps up and the game slows down. All-stars, rare air. All-stars are the top 25 to 35 players in the NBA. Perennial all-star selections, players who lead teams deep into the playoffs. Their names are known globally. All-stars average 22 to 25 points per game with elite efficiency and strong all-around impact. They're often the best player on playoff teams or the second best player on championship contenders. Opponents design defensive schemes specifically to stop them. These players have multiple elite skills working together, great scorers who can also playmake or defend at a high level. No obvious holes to exploit. Contracts range from 30 to 45 million per year, plus endorsements bringing total earnings to 60 to 100 million annually. What separates all-stars from high-level starters? Consistency and performance in big moments. All-stars show up when it matters most: elimination games, conference finals, nationally televised matchups. They want the ball with the game on the line and usually deliver. All-stars change franchises. Sign one and you're instantly a playoff contender. All NBA level players elite. All NBA players are the top 12 to 15 players in the league who make All NBA first, second, or third team consistently. They're a cut above regular All-Stars. These are the guys competing for individual awards every season. All NBA players average 25 to 28 points per game with dominant two-way impact. They're the best player on championship contenders, or can carry decent teams to the playoffs single-handedly. These players excel at multiple facets of the game at the highest level: elite scoring, elite playmaking, or elite defense, usually two of the three. They have signature skills that define their game and make them nearly unstoppable. Salary maxes out around 45 to 55 million per year. Add endorsements and they're making 100 to 150 million annually. What separates all NBA from regular all-stars? Dominance and consistency over multiple seasons. All NBA players aren't just good. For 1 year, they're elite for 5, 6, 7 straight seasons. They're in the MVP conversation regularly even if they don't win it. Superstars and MVP candidates. The top 7 to 10 players in the world. MVP candidates. Championship leaders. The faces of franchises and the league itself. Giannis, Luka, Jokic, Curry, Durant, generational talents who dominate for years. Superstars average 28+ points with historic efficiency while being elite playmakers or defenders or both. They take over games single-handedly when needed. 40-point triple-doubles, 50-point playoff performances. They do things that make you question if you've ever seen anything like it. What makes someone a superstar versus all NBA? Complete mastery with zero weaknesses. Superstars are elite scorers and playmakers and perform at the highest level in finals games when pressure breaks everyone else. Superstars also have intangibles. They're leaders who elevate everyone around them. They handle impossible pressure with grace. Teammates trust them completely because they've delivered in the biggest moments repeatedly. Contracts max around 50 to 60 million per year, but endorsements push total earnings to 200 to 400 million annually. They're not just players, they're global icons. The gap between level 8 and 9 might seem small statistically, but the impact is astronomical. All NBA players help you compete for championships. Superstars win them. All-time Gorts and Gorts time. The pantheon. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. 5 to 10 players in basketball history who transcended the sport and became immortal. All-time greats don't just dominate for a few years. They dominate for 15 to 20 years straight. Multiple championships, multiple MVPs. Finals MVP trophies that pile up like receipts. They're not just the best of their generation, They're in the conversation for greatest ever. What separates this level from superstars? Sustained excellence and cultural impact that changes the game forever. LeBron has been the best player in the world for 2 decades. Jordan never lost in the finals and retired as the undisputed GOAT. Kobe won 5 championships and inspired an entire generation globally. All-time greats carry impossible pressure with impossible grace. Every game is analyzed, every playoff run dissected, every loss held against them forever, and still they deliver when it matters most. The statistical achievements are incomprehensible. 40,000 plus points, 10 plus, all NBA first teams, 4, 5, 6 championships. But beyond numbers, all-time greats have an aura. When they step on court, everyone knows they're watching history. This is the peak. And the cruelest truth? 99.9% of players will never come close no matter how hard they work. Greatness here requires talent, opportunity, mentality, and luck that happens once per generation. This is where legends are born. Outrow 10 levels, 450 roster spots, a hierarchy so brutal that making the NBA is just the beginning. The difference between survival and greatness isn't always talent. Sometimes it's timing, opportunity, or luck. But one thing is certain, the NBA doesn't care about your dreams. It only cares if you can survive. If you survive this breakdown, prove it, hit like and subscribe. Comment which level exposed the truth you didn't want to hear. Thanks for watching. Now you know the truth.